And tonight, I am going to cook chicken Florentine. And hello and welcome back to Life in Every Season. You're going to see in a previous video, we've been working in the hoop house today. We planted a bunch of plants. We started most of them from seedlings. But tonight, I'm going to cook dinner. And I have discovered Joanna Gaines and her cookbooks. And I've been renting these from the library to see if I want to buy them. Her first volume was awesome. Everything in it I cooked was amazing. And tonight, I am going to cook chicken Florentine. But I am going to do a little twist on it because we are cheese people. If a dinner has to have cheese and tomatoes or one or the other in the meal. So I'm adding about a cup of Parmesan cheese to the cream sauce, and you'll see that here in a minute. So in a large skillet, I'm going to heat some oil. I've got it already preheating. And we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. 1, 2. We're going to let that get kind of warm. And then I've got, now her recipe calls for chicken breasts, but they had chicken thighs on sale at the grocery store, so that's what I got. I salted and peppered them, and now I'm getting ready to dredge them in some flour, and then I'm going to fry them. And I put, her recipe calls for about 1/2 cup of flour to dredge, and that's what I did. And I do use either Bob's Red Hill or Jovial Acorn flour. I prefer those, but just because I know they're pretty safe. And you can hear that little sizzle going. It's been a busy Sunday for us. Like I said, we worked out in the garden today. And it's raining right now. We had to kick the cats out so we could be able to film this because they were just all over both of us. So, yeah, busy Sunday for us. So I'm going to cook this until it has, I've got one more here left to do, and I'm going to cook it until it's about done, about 165 degrees Fahrenheit inside, or about 8 minutes per side. Now these are thighs. They're a little thinner, but they are a dark meat, so I'm not really sure if it's going to work out to 8 minutes or not, but we'll see here in a minute. So this recipe is actually pretty simple in its ingredients. I'm adding the Parmesan just because we like cheese. I've got 4 cups of spinach. I've got a cup of, I didn't have enough to make a full cup of heavy cream, so it's a little bit more like half and half. I've got 4 tablespoons of butter, and I've got 1 cup of white wine. I've got 1 large scallop that I minced, and it should be about 1/2 cup. And then I've got 3 cloves of garlic. And I already salted and peppered the chicken, but we're going to add an additional 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt to the recipe. And this might make a little noise, I'm sorry, but I got to put a little bit of a vent on. And my pan was set at a medium-high heat. By the way, you'll hear in the previous video, this is my new 39th wedding anniversary gift. I found a Wagner No. 8 skillet when I was in West Virginia. I was taking care of my mom for a medical procedure, and they've got a couple of really good antique shops there, and so I got that. I was really happy about it. I love my Griswold, I love my Wagner, but I cook pretty much everything in, unless it's a soup, I cook everything pretty much in cast iron. It's just something that it gives the food good flavor, and I've never been anemic, and I think it's because I've always cooked in cast iron. It might be wrong, I don't know that for sure, but that's my thought process. So we're going to cook this about 8 minutes on each side, according to her instructions. And once that's done, we're going to add the shallots. We're going to take the chicken out of the pan, put it on another plate, and we're going to add the shallots and the garlic and saute that. Then we're going to add the wine to scrape off the bottom bits, all that really good fond and beautifulness that happens in a skillet when you're cooking like this. And then after that, we're going to let it simmer for about, according to her directions, about 10 minutes. And then I'm going to add the cream, and I'm going to stir it for about 5 to 8 minutes after that. And then we're going to put our spinach in. I can't wait for us to have our own spinach. I bought this at the grocery store yesterday or the day before, and it's not bad. I mean, it's pretty lettuce. I mean, pretty spinach, but I ended up throwing about a third of it away because it had already gotten yucky. So I'm really excited for our spinach to come into season, and we can actually start using that for cooking. And we have Swiss chard and onions, and I'm just waiting for those cold seasoned vegetables to come into play. Looking pretty. And look how beautiful my skillet is doing. Nothing is sticking. I love that. I tend to buy chicken thighs over chicken breasts, mainly because they have better flavor. I've always been like a dark meat kind of person when I was a kid. The only thing I wanted off of the chicken was the legs. I can remember my mom wrapping napkins around the bottom of the leg so I could eat and not make a mess. But I just think that the thighs have a lot of flavor. I do like chicken breasts, but I usually end up cutting them and splitting them out because they're usually so thick at the top and then so thin at the bottom, and I have a hard time cooking them. Maybe other people have that down to a science, but I don't. But yeah, we do a lot of chicken thighs here, and it's a cost-effective thing. It's much less expensive to buy thighs as opposed to chicken breasts. And hopefully next year we will have our own meat chickens, and we can put them in the freezer. We'll break them down all the way. We've done it in the past when we had a little hobby farm in West Virginia, and we actually split up a group of chickens with another family. They didn't have the fencing, and we kind of bought 50 chickens. They took 25, we took 25, we took care of them, and then when it came time to butcher them, they came over and helped us, and that was an experience. So I'm going to turn this down, because it sounds like it's getting a little too excited for me. I don't really want them to burn. They're getting pretty. Can you see that? Lovely. So what have you guys been doing today? I'm just kind of enjoying my day, getting to cook, but I hope you guys are having a good day, and let me know what you guys have been doing on a Sunday when it's rainy and a little chilly, besides planting plants in the garden. Okay, so my chicken is now cooked. I'm going to throw in a couple of tablespoons of butter, and we're going to saute our garlic and our shallots. I have 1/2 cup of shallots that I minced. I'm going to put those in. I'm going to stir those around a little bit. How beautiful that is. I love it when it turns brown like that. And then we're going to put in our garlic. We're just going to kind of let that come to about a translucent stage, about 2 minutes. Oh, the smell is amazing. Just switch to a wooden spoon so I don't scrape the seasoning off of my skillet. Look how beautiful and brown that is. I love that. Set a timer for about a minute. As I sit here and talk to y'all before I hit the timer. Most of the good bits are coming off already, but we're going to put that white wine in to help take the bits off of the bottom. All right, we're going to add the wine in. And then keep scraping the bits off of the bottom of the pan. And according to her instructions, we are going to let this simmer until it reduces by about half. So for about 10 minutes. So I'll see you back in 10 minutes. So this has been reducing for about 10 minutes. And I'm going to put my half and half because I didn't have enough cream. I had to make butter today. So long story short, I bought the wrong bottle at the grocery store. And it was not happy. And you can see this is starting to get a little crazy because it suddenly reduced enough in about a minute that it started really sizzling. So I'm going to put this cream in. And we're going to let that reduce until it starts to coat the back of a spoon for about 5 minutes. So we'll set the timer for 5 minutes. This has been simmering between 8 and 10 minutes, and as you can see, it is coating the back of a spoon, which was part of her instructions. But I'm going to take it off the heat. I've got a cup of Parmesan. It's actually, I believe it's Parmesan, yeah, it is just Parmesan. I'm going to go ahead and put that in and stir it in slowly. Give a little bit of extra flavor. And we'll see if I need the whole cup or not. We'll kind of eyeball it, see how thick it gets. It'll almost be like an Alfredo, which you can never beat an Alfredo. It's getting nice and thick. Now, in her recipe, it calls for 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt, but because I'm putting that Parmesan in, I'm only going to add about half of this. I'm very salt sensitive. My husband says that every time I say, oh, I think I oversalted it, he's like, no, it's perfect. I always worry about putting too much salt in. And now, we're going to put, I've got 4 cups of spinach that I have rinsed and taken the stems out of. So we're going to put that in and let that wilt. Maybe we'll use the spoon. Look at that cheese that's sticking to my spatula. It's beautiful. That the chicken when it was done, and I've cut it into strips once it was cool enough to handle. It's amazingly really well seasoned. I was kind of surprised because I used 2 teaspoons of salt and about a teaspoon of pepper to season each one of those. But it turned out, it tastes amazing. So as you can see, I'm wilting the spinach. And it's taking its sweet time to wilt because I put it in a frying pan. And I will say this much, the cheese is making it a little stickier, but I think it's going to taste amazing with the extra cheese in it. Like I said, you can't beat anything that has cheese in it. It's just amazing. And I love pretty much every kind of cheese there is. I don't think I've met a cheese I don't like. Now you can see it's starting to wilt a little bit. And we are about ready to plate. The spinach is giving a little bit of moisture out of it so that my sauce is kind of staying nice, and it's still thick, but it's still wet enough that it will help coat the leaves of the spinach and help it to finish wilting. There we go. It's looking beautiful and perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and plate some of this up. There's spinach. And our chicken. And I've got me a little baby ladle. I'm going to put a little bit more sauce on this. And there you have it. Chicken Florentine by Joanna Gaines and tweaked a little bit by Kelly. I hope you guys have a great evening. Thank you so much. Thank you for stopping by Life in Every Season.